All right, good morning, everybody. Meteorologist Greg Majeski back to you here in the North Georgia Majestic West Studios with your weather report update here on your January the 24th, 2026. Well, it's game time on. It's game time. It is, we're done with the forecasting part, really. For the most part, we're kind of into what I call nowcast mode. Again, you guys got to get everything prepared and closed out for today. Basically, my recommendation is make sure you have everything done before the sun goes down tonight. Make sure you got everything prepped and ready to go. As hopefully, cross our fingers, won't be as bad as what we're projecting, but still looks like we're going to get a decent coating of ice that's going to cause major disruptions for everybody here across the area. Then we got to deal with the bitterly cold temperatures we got to put up with here for the next week. Now, before we get rolling in all this, if you are new to the channel, we are actually simulcasting. First time I've done this. We're simulcasting over on the YouTube channel as well as over here on Facebook. We're doing both of them. So good to be able to pull this thing off. So if you watch on either platform, if you're new to the channel, please go ahead and make sure you hit the subscribe button over on YouTube. Hit that. And if you're on Facebook, make sure you go to our main Facebook page and give us a follow. It really helps the algorithm to identify us as a source. And please do that as we continue to try to grow this channel, eventually becoming a professional, broadcast style type of system. Hopefully we get a little bit of luck. Anyway, let's get into the update here this morning. Now, this thing is a massive, and I do mean a massive storm here coming up. Boy, did that pin go away again? I'm going to tell you, that makes me very mad that pin went away again. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Where did my pin go? I've been having problems with my Epic Pin program. There it is, right there. I don't know if this is going to work now because now I may have to reset it. Probably will, but bear with me for a second. That's what you call live, and we'll work out the bugs here for tonight's update here. I got a lot to show you guys here. All right, there's my pointer. At least is it going to draw? Yay, it's going to draw. Okay, good for me. All right, here we go. What's interesting about this is, the low that's responsible for all this is way down here toward the southwest. You could clearly see where this thing is down here, back down that way. All right, so it's swinging all this tropical moisture, Pacific moisture coming up in here, and it's such a vast, huge system impacting so many people. Again, you look at this. You're talking about half the country. You're talking about over 200 million people that are going to be directly impacted by this storm in some form or fashion. Now, the big thing for us, obviously, is the fact that we've got all this purple in here. This is, of course, the ice storm warnings here. You get to see it back over here toward Texas, dealing with Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, and all these winter storm warnings. Just astounding how large this thing is turning in. So I'm going to go a little bit closer here. Let me switch over here to the local version so you can kind of see what's going on here from a closer perspective here. So I'm going to switch into the regional, going to the southeast here. There you go, so you can kind of see what's going on there. So you see all the things going on here. Now, there is going to be severe weather component to this, believe it or not, down there in South Georgia. That'll go into Sunday morning. But for North Georgia, everybody's kind of in the ice storm mode. The peripheries in that winter storm watch there for right now, or the winter weather advisory, I should say, not watch. So everything is kind of prepped and ready to go here for today. Now, radar-wise this morning, what we've seen so far, it's just some light precipitation that's been kind of moving through the area. There's some dry air in there. I did look at a few of the cameras out here, and I did see a little bit of precipitation falling. Let's see if I can check a couple of these out and see this out. Now, this is on Radar Mega here, and we can pull up any of these cameras, which is really great. We got 17 of them here in this area, and I got some other cameras too. So this is not going to amount to anything. The real rain threat comes in for tonight, all right? So again, we're talking about the freezing rain, which is going to be the big thing here. Again, that's rain that's just falling and hitting very cold temperatures at the surface. And we got some dry air. We have a cold air wedge moving in across the area. So that's going to make, again, we're going to see temperatures probably late this afternoon really start to drop off here for later today. So again, we'll be watching very, very closely as we're going to be tracking the temperatures. That's probably the big thing here. So again, that's our freezing rain right here. All right, that's what we're going to be looking at. All right, now let's go ahead and get into the model data here. We're going to break this all down for you. I'm also going to show you some of the things we're going to be doing for our extended live coverage here at 3 o'clock today. All right, so we're going to first, we're not using the global models anymore. We're not doing those. We're using all short-term and intermediate modeling right now. We're not even worried about, we're not doing the GFS, we're not doing the European anymore. We're kind of putting those to bed. We're using the shorter range stuff here for right now. All right. So we're looking at the latest high resolution 6Z run here as we're going to back this up here as I was looking at earlier. So again, look at that timestamp there as the real precipitation really doesn't arrive in. This is showing it till about 8 o'clock starts coming in here and really starts icing up here. All right. And you see the expanse, and that wedge really kind of holds on strong there. Going throughout most of the day. Look at northeast Georgia especially. And then it goes over to rain, which we knew we were going to get a little brief window of that, and then the bottom's going to drop out with the cold air. Now the NAM 12 kilometer goes out a little bit further in time, so you can kind of see the duration. This is definitely going big time with the freezing rain. That's all that pink, by the way. That's the pink. The orange there is sleet, and obviously the green is rain. And it does break down eventually into the afternoon and brings in some rain. A little bit of snow, looks like a little bit, seeing a little bit of blue there showing up across there. Maybe some snow flurries as this thing comes on through late and then clears on out, and just bitterly, bitterly cold temperatures after that. So those are the two main models there, kind of looking at there. Now, what we're going to have to pay attention to today, guys, is we're going to pay attention to the radar, all right? And we're going to pay attention to where the heavy rain band's set up, because obviously the heavier the rain, the more icing you're going to get out there on everything, all right? So the one thing I want you to notice here is the streaky nature of how this thing is looking, all right? So it's very, very streaky looking in the rain. So you know how we get rainfall that falls. Not everybody's going to get the same rain, right? So the icing's not going to be uniform. It's some folks, some areas, some spots will be heavier than others. Some won't get as bad. Some will get a little bit more. All depends on where the heavy rain band's kind of set up across the area. 1 inch plus of rain, 2 inches up across northwest Georgia there. Again, that's some of that heavier rain coming in from the west, I think late in the cycle there. But that's what the high resolution model here is showing as far as rain. The NAM also showing similar amounts here. Looking at the heavier rains across the North Georgia mountains there, over 1 inch plus here for the duration. And the other high resolution model, not as much here, a little bit drier. That could be, somebody was asking the question, could the wedge influence the precipitation? Absolutely could. If the air is dry enough there, it may allow the rain not to be able to fall initially a little bit. That's a possibility. We can always hope for that to kind of reduce the icing down. So we're looking at, regardless, looks like on average here, 1 inch plus of rain falling across the area. Now, what does that translate into as far as icing is concerned? All right. So we're going to look at that real quick. So I'm going to go to all three of these. I'm going to switch over to all of them. So we're looking at the high resolution model here first. Let me scroll down here to the winter precip here. We're going to go over to freezing rain. And we're going to take this out for the rest of the 6Z here. 12Z is just now starting to chew. So we'll be able to look at that in a minute. So this is what the higher resolution's kicking out here. And again, not really great. You got 1.25 inch, 1 inch. Again, anything above a half inch is a big deal. Now, this model is not showing a lot across northwest Georgia. It does show maybe about 1/4 inch, getting close to 1/4 inch near Atlanta. But boy, that northeast zone, the typical wedge zone is very, very bad. Anywhere up here across northeast, Dahlonega, going up toward Clayton, Blairsville, it's just not a good place. It's looking very bad up on that particular model. All right, let's go look at the NAM one. We'll look at that one as for comparison too. So look at this one. Let me switch over to the. Probably need to put this as a separate thing, but I'll do it on the one later today. So here's the freezing rain here, and again, kind of favoring up in the mountains here, half inch. Now the NAM's not as bad, but it's still, again, half inch is going to do a lot of damage, folks. You see half inch, 0.58, maybe quarter down toward Atlanta, but again, this one's not quite as bad. And then we'll look at the rapid one here. Let's take a look at this one. And let me switch this back over to winter here, and we'll look at this one, freezing rain. And yeah, they're all still in the same. So these are close to a half inch, 1/3 of an inch, 1/4 inch. Again, one thing I will say though, all the short range models are kind of showing here is that the western zone's not showing a whole lot. And folks were asking questions last night about the western areas because they put everybody under the ice storm warning there across North Georgia. And I said I doubt the western zones were going to be that bad. I thought maybe glazing wasn't going to be that bad, like Rome, for example, because of that. So all the models here, as you can kind of see, as far as the icing. You'll still see a little bit here across on the NAM model here, and the higher resolution model shows a little bit there as well. So because some of the models were showing that, you couldn't take it out completely. So you get a little bit of glazing on the bridges and overpasses, and that's going to cause a lot of problem. The ground temperatures are pretty cold. All right, so let's take a look here at the temperature profile. Very important here. We're going to look through the temperatures here first. We're going to start off with the higher resolution model. Watch the timestamp, okay? Temperature is critical, obviously. So we're going to watch and see what happens here with the temperatures. Looks like around on this model here, shows it coming in here about 8 o'clock. You see the temperature start to drop. Watch the purple, because that's the precipitation falling and the temperatures falling into the 20s, even down into the metro Atlanta area there. So that's when you're going to get really bad icing here, as that precipitation moves in from the east. Now, we'll say this, the high resolution model compared to last night to what I'm seeing right now on the 60s, not that bad, but the 12s he's chewing right now. So I'll share that with you guys a little bit later this morning. And then you see that low tracking to the south. Now this is staying south, where the European was kind of going north. You see the temperatures there kind of holding at 32. It doesn't even show Gainesville doesn't even really get above briefly gets above freezing, just briefly at 1 o'clock in the morning on Monday before the bottom drops out. But because the cold air is coming in there, but it's going to be quite cold coming the next morning. So here goes the NAM model here, 3 kilometer. Again, watch the temperature there. It looks like this evening, again, everything's kind of going for tonight. And again, everybody going to get in the 20s. It looks like the NAM's not quite as cold, and I think it's underperforming this, because and there's a reason for that. I'm going to show you here in a second. I think this is a little underdone with the temperature. That's why their icing amounts were lower. And then you see the cold air come on in here. Here it comes. Bam. This is look at this look at I mean, this is 7 o'clock in the morning, 15, 20, 20, 17, 18. You can see why the black ice is going to be a problem on Monday. We're just not going to have enough time to dry out. We're going to be rain. Temperature going to drop like a rock real quick. We'll dry out a little bit, but the icing is going to be a major problem come Monday morning across a lot of North Georgia. Let's go over to the rapid one here. We're going to go to the RRFS, and we're going to look at this one as well. Again, looking at here, we're freezing. Again, they're all showing about their own thing. So you should be okay up until about sunset. I've been telling everybody to be done by sunset. And then this drops into the 20s too. I think this one's also underperforming as far as the wedge is concerned, as far as the temperature profile. I'm going to show you why I think that. All right. So here comes the cold air coming on here again. And going to 7 o'clock, this one's not quite as cold, but still widespread 20s. That's more than enough to get black ice everywhere here on that. All right, so let's talk about this. This is what we're going to be tracking here for today. All right, this is the current dew points out there. I'm make sure this is the latest and greatest here. This is as of 7 o'clock. Let me see if it's updated here. Let's get the 8 o'clock in there. There's the 7:45 one. All right, so what I'm going to be watching closely. Notice these dew points. That's the measure of moisture in the air. You see these where it says 11, 11, 6, 4. This is extremely dry Arctic air. When that works its way down the east side of the Appalachians, we call it cold air damming. You also heard the slang word called a wedge, as it's bounced up against the mountains and it's coming right down the pike there. If the dew points drop down substantially, the air will cool lower. All right. So as the precipitation goes and you get to that evaporational cooling takes place, and you get down to what we call the wet bulb, where it's completely saturated, that'll take your temperature down substantially. So we're going to be watching the dew point here religiously, and then watching also what the difference here is. The dew point wet bulb is pretty low right now, but not bad. But we're going to be watching that closely. And when it gets down to that saturation point, which means 100% relative humidity, that's what that basically means. That'll cool that temperature down. So I'm going to be watching and tracking these dew points here all day today to see how they infiltrate in. Right now, the dew points are sitting here in the 20s, 27, 25. That's pretty high, obviously. But if they start dropping down into single digits and stuff, that's going to make a big difference. All right, so we're going to be tracking that. All right, so again, looking at the bigger picture, here's the wider storm. Again, you got to see what's going on here with all the snow up there toward the north. There you see some of this winter precipitation here starting to show up there across North Georgia. Again, we did have a cold front kind of move on in here, and the high resolution model was trying to hint at some snow initially up here. This is not going to last long, and a lot of this is dry because it's just not meeting anything right now. So again, the main rain thrust is going to be coming back here from the west. But look at these temperatures. They're sitting here in the teens and 20s. Very, very cold behind this. and all this tropical moisture is running over. It's a very shallow Arctic air where you're getting that wintry mix taking place. All right, going all through there. All right, now currently, like I said, our radar is not really showing all that much in our area. And thank you, Paul. Appreciate it there. All right, now for tonight, this is what we got going. I've got cameras all lined up here all over the place. All right, so we've got my little squad here. We got Sky Valley, Helen, Blairsville, Brasstown, Ball. These are kind of the areas that are expected to be the worst areas as far as potential icing is concerned. I've also got the individual cameras so we can kind of move around. Now, my guess is that I got to change the title on that one. But Brasstown Ball, we probably won't be able to see that. It'll probably be up in the clouds. I'm not going to be able to see that very well. But we'll be looking at the different locations. We got Helen, obviously. We got Blairsville. We got Lake Chateau. We can look up there. We got Sky Valley. We got Lake Lanier to look at. We got Dalton. I got a camera up in Dalton I found. We got the UGA campus. We got Athens to look at. We got Dahlonega. Hopefully it'll come up here in a second. Sometimes that camera can be a little picky sometimes, but I have it. Let me go back here to see if it'll reset. There it goes. There's Dahlonega. I've got the Atlanta cameras here. All the Fox 5 cameras here. Although it's not coming up right now. That's I can scroll through that later, but I got all the Fox 5 cameras to go through. A couple things that we're going to be watching. This is very important here for tonight, folks. This here is the current road conditions and maps and stuff in here. So what this allows me to do here is I can go in here and start looking at the actual road and temperatures, okay? You see the dew point. See that dew point falling like rapidly right there? The temperature and dew point are going to saturate, but this shows you the dry air that's filtered on in here. See the dew point dropping off rapidly here? Current road temperature sitting there in the 30s. So that's not going to take much to bring that down. Again, that's just off 85 going up there. But I can take a look here at all the different road conditions here across North Georgia and get an idea of what the road temperatures are doing. So again, once they get down to 32, they're going to be icing up pretty rapidly. So that's one thing we'll be tracking during our wall coverage tonight is the temperatures on the roads at that time. So we'll be looking at that tool. And then we'll also be accessing the Georgia DOT cameras. We'll take a look and see what's going on, especially up 85, especially because I really think that's going to be the worst zone as far as the wedge is concerned. But we'll be bouncing around and taking a look at some of that as well. So, and then I'll also probably put Twitter in here as well, or X, to kind of look and see what's going on with folks posting stuff and anything else that goes on with the system. So that's where we currently are. Like I said, we're in nowcast mode. The big thing for today, I know everybody's asking the question, well, how much ice am I going to get in my place? How much ice am I going to get in this? How much is going to be here? How much is going to be there? At this point, it's kind of irrelevant what the models are kind of saying. It's kind of irrelevant. I mean, we got to get a general idea. But what we're looking for right now is we're waiting to see where the bands of rain set up. As I showed you on those models, you saw the kind of the banding nature of the rains. Like I said, not everybody's going to get equal amounts because we never get rain to fall in equal amounts, right? One location may be a little heavier than another location. So that means the icing is going to be more substantial in one place over another. So some places are going to get it harder, some places are not. So like I said, it's not like a paintbrush and everybody's going to get the same amount. It doesn't work that way. All right. So some of you might luck out, some of you may not. So as we go through today, the things you've got to go through, make sure you're doing. All right. Make sure you've got your prescription medications. Make sure you got everything done as far as food, non-perishable food. Plan on power outages for at least 3 days. That's what I've been telling everybody, to kind of treat this as a hurricane. Make sure that you've got, if you got firewood, if you got a fireplace, have that ready. Check on the elderly folks, please, today. My dad's in assisted living down the street. I know he's okay. But check on the elderly. Don't leave the pets out in this crap, especially if it's icing outside, and leave them out there. Bring them inside. So just make sure you're ready to go. We've got work here to do. My wife bought a generator, which, if necessary, we'll plug up this operation into it. I suspect I'm in Brazelton, so I'm in what I consider Wedge City up this way. So I do expect to get a lot of wedging. Now, what's going to go on here for tonight? It's going to be extended coverage. So we're going to be starting at 3 o'clock and probably go, I'm going to say at least midnight for right now, maybe later, depending on how things are developing. But we'll be doing extended coverage at that time. There'll be a lot of opportunities to chit chat and talk a little bit. We'll be talking to everybody on YouTube as well as over here on Facebook, and got to get you things going. So again, please share this with your family and friends. Come over here, and we'll be able to get everything go through here and get everything okay. Kathy, oh, you're in Greensboro. How you doing? Greensboro, you're down to the south. Yeah, just again, should not be that bad down toward Greensboro. Let me double check here. I'm just making sure I got my map mine's connected. You're down there off Interstate 20, if I remember correctly. I don't think it's going to be as bad down that far south. So, but I know a lot of folks are, what's going to be like here? What's going to be like here? What's going to be like here? Yeah, you're down on 20. That's what I thought. Yeah, you're on the periphery of this. Again, let me go back to the watch warning map here. Again, you are in that ice storm warning there in that area. So just plan for at least I would say that far south, maybe at least a 1/4 inch ice potentially. But just make sure that you guys are ready to go. The western zones, like I said, I don't think the western counties are going to get as bad as the northern counties. All this up in here, these guys up in the western counties, you're under the ice storm warning. I'm not saying you're not going to get anything. I am definitely not saying that. What I am saying is I don't think that'll be where the heaviest ice is going to be. I do favor the traditional textbook zone. The thing for Greensboro is a question of how strong is the wedge. Okay, how strong does that come in? I've seen wedges surprise sometimes. They come in a little bit stronger. That's why the Weather Service, they don't just do an absolute line. They build in a little pad just to be on the safe side. You got to have a margin of error there. So what we're seeing right there is, again, if you're under the ice storm warning, if your county's under the ice storm warning, just treat it accordingly. Okay, that's expect the potential for power outages and potential for long power outages, depending on how bad it is in your area. All right. So we're going to go through all of this today. And yeah, I've seen some people here reporting some sleet out there. Again, not a surprise because the air mass is dry. Charlie here, Tracy's reporting sleeting air commerce. Again, looking at the radar here, you can kind of get an idea here. Let me pull up the radar real quick here. Let me go back to radar mega here. Just a very light precipitation that's moving through the area there. That's the Atlanta radar. So it's not going to amount to anything. Might see a few sleet pellets here and there. Calhoun, no, you're on the wrong side of the mountains there to get the wedge over that way. The wedge. Oh, and I did post this, by the way. If you go to the main Facebook page, I did post a county map of the state of Georgia. I know not everybody's geography is as strong as others. If you're not exactly sure where your county is, I know you know what county you live in, but go look at the Georgia map I post on Facebook. I posted it last night. Just scroll back down to it, and that'll help you out as far as your geography is concerned. Again, it's going to be the northeast zones that are going to be the areas that are going to get it bad. Yeah, and I'm sorry, I cannot answer. Y'all are asking about how about Barrow, how about I can't answer everybody's questions. I'm telling everybody right now, if you're in the ice storm warning, plan accordingly. It's okay. Just plan on power being knocked out. Plan on going. Again, we're in nowcast mode. We got to watch and see how the rains develop. So what we're going to be doing tonight at 3:00 till midnight, we will be tracking that, because right now I can't tell you exactly how it's going to be in your location because I don't know how the rains are going to develop. All right, until it gets going. But I will say this much: like I said, that prime zone I just showed you across northeast Georgia, up in the mountains, that is the area there that's going to be hit the hardest, the most. That could see potentially up to 1 inch of icing in those areas. All right, now I can see both chats. This is going to work pretty well. I'm very grateful. So again, thank you. I noticed we got a number of new YouTube subscribers here on the channel. I will do this much. Let me do this for you guys real quick. But while I remember doing it, just real quick for you guys here on Facebook, stand by here for a quick minute. Let me do this for you real quick, because I do know some people prefer to watch like extended live coverage and stuff on YouTube. So with that being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the YouTube link here in the chat. So I just put the North Georgia Majestic Weather YouTube page in the chat if you prefer to watch our extended coverage over there on that platform. Just go to that link and just go ahead and hit the subscribe button over there, and you can watch it over there. I know it's a lot easier, like from TV, to watch YouTube from your home television than it is to watch Facebook, which is really kind of designed more when you're on this kind of stuff. So, all right, that is y'all's update for this morning. We will see you back here at 3 o'clock. I will be posting some updates here before we get rolling at 3. And you guys just stay safe. Do whatever you got to do to get prepared here. You got a few more hours here. It's 8:30, almost 8:30 this morning here. And hopefully we'll get through this okay, and hopefully it won't be as bad as it could be. All right, it's really going to depend on the wedge and how much precipitation we get. If the wedge is strong and the precipitation is heavy, we got problems. If the wedge is not as strong as we think and the precipitation is not as heavy, then maybe it's not as bad. But that's basically where we are. Like I said, we're in nowcast mode. All right, we'll see you guys at 3 o'clock. You guys have a great, safe day.